Because if you're not 100% clear with yourself as to why you are now contributing and participating, that external validation can start to warp your motivations. Alright, so I wanted to talk about external validation because I recently had an experience where I inadvertently started seeking it out and I ended up betraying one of my own principles in the process. But let me start at the beginning. Alright, so if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I don't use most social media. I don't have Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or any of that. The only social media that I really use are Reddit and YouTube. But even on those sites, I don't really participate or contribute. I guess I should say historically, I haven't really participated or contributed because obviously now I post to YouTube. But before I made this channel, I was known as what's commonly referred to as a lurker, which is just someone who's always on the outskirts, who is always kind of observing but never really participating or contributing. And so yeah, there would be plenty of things that I would see that may elicit some kind of reaction in me, but I never really act on it by liking or disliking or commenting. I just kind of see it, acknowledge it, and keep it pushing. But over the past 5 years, I've kind of gone through spurts where I would actually start to participate. For short periods of time, I'd actually be liking posts and comments, or actually just making comments of my own. But for one reason or another, I never really stuck to it until recently. Over the past year, I've started commenting and participating more on Reddit and on YouTube. And I can't say that I actually know the reason why, but I would guess that it's probably the same reason I felt the need to start this YouTube channel. You know, I just kind of felt like I had this genuine need to express my thoughts, feelings, and opinions, both on myself and on the outside world. So if I see something that I disagree with, I want to be able to express and articulate why I disagree with that thing. And vice versa. If I see something that I agree with, I want to be able to articulate and talk my way through why I like that thing. And as a nice little side effect, 2 of my most recent videos actually came from comments that I had made on other YouTube videos. But as we all know, leaving a comment isn't really a one-way street. If people appreciate or agree with your comment, then they can engage with it by liking, disliking, or responding to your comment. And this is where that external validation can start to mess with you. Because if you're not 100% clear with yourself as to why you are now contributing and participating, that external validation can start to warp your motivations. Remember the reason I gave for starting to participate in the first place? Because I had a genuine need to express something. And it is extremely rewarding to have somebody like or appreciate your genuine expression. It's really an indescribable feeling. But if you're not careful, that feeling can become the reason that you participate. And that's what happened to me. At a certain point, I stopped commenting because I genuinely needed to express something. And I started commenting for the reactions, the likes, and the responses. Even if they were negative, I still just wanted engagement on my comments. And what's so scary about this is that I was on guard against external validation. I mean, we all know about it. If you Google external validation right now, the first articles that come up are about how to not rely on external validation, how to stop seeking it, how to stop depending on it, the trap of external validation, how it's hurting you. I mean, if an alien came down to Earth and saw how we were talking about external validation, they would think it was a drug or some type of narcotic. And for good reason. Getting praise and taking drugs both have similar chemical effects within our brains because they both trigger the release of dopamine. And so just as I am wary of taking drugs because of the illusory effects that they can have on me, I am also extremely wary of the potential effects of external validation. And yet, despite my awareness, I still succumbed to the need for it. Alright, so what exactly happened? Well, on April 22nd, I commented on a video from one of my favorite YouTube channels, Girlfriend Reviews. I've talked about them before on my channel. In my unprofessional and illegitimate opinion, they are the best channel on YouTube. And on that day, I made a comment saying just that. Now, the next day I went on YouTube and I saw that I had a few notifications. So I checked the notifications and I had gotten a few responses. So I clicked on the responses and I saw that the comment had gotten a couple hundred likes. Now that is highly unusual for me. I mean, you've seen the types of comments that I make. I usually garner anywhere from 0 to 50 likes at most, and it's usually closer to the 0 end of the spectrum. And so I'm not gonna lie that after seeing the response this comment got, my mood definitely went up. I started feeling myself a little bit, but I was still wary. Like I said before, I've gone through periods of time where I was commenting a lot, and so I've gotten this type of response before. Again, it's extremely rare, but it has happened before. And so I'm thinking to myself, yeah, no, this is really nice. But don't let it go to your head. All right, external validation is dangerous. Enjoy the moment and then move on with your day. And for the most part, I thought I did just that. But here's the thing. In April, before the 22nd, I had made 3 comments. But from the 22nd of April till the end of April, which is 8 days, I made 24 comments. That is a 700% increase in commenting frequency. That is simply ridiculous. Clearly, my behavior changed after I made that comment. More specifically, after I'd seen the response to that comment. But hold up, let me give myself the benefit of the doubt. Because as I was looking at those comments, I noticed that the majority of them were actually responses to other comments. And so this 700% increase might not be a function of me just making more comments. It might just be indicative of the fact that the comments that I was making were getting a lot more responses. And honestly, I remember one debate in particular that got pretty heated. I mean, some dude had said that Infinity War was the greatest movie of all time. As if Christopher Nolan and his entire filmography don't exist. I mean, do we not remember Inception? Do we not remember what that did to us as a society? Okay, Christopher Nolan crippled an entire generation because he didn't show that totem drop. But anyway, that's besides the point. Completely different video, but expect that video to be made because I am not done with this yet. But anyway, my point is just that this 700% increase may not actually indicate a change in my intent. It may not actually show that I went from making comments because I genuinely needed to express something to making comments because I was chasing likes. Again, let's just say hypothetically that's not the situation. Let me just give myself the benefit of the doubt here. Unfortunately for me, as I look closer at the actual comments that I was making, I start to lose the benefit of the doubt. And that's specifically because of 2 comments that I made. One comment I made on April 26th and the other comment I made on May 3rd. Now, on April 26th, I was watching some Champions League highlights. Manchester City had played Real Madrid. It became an instant classic. But one of the things that made those highlights so special was the commentator. All right, this guy was dropping gems the entire video.
Denied.
This man is a poet. No other commentator in the game has the same expressions that this guy has. And since that video, I found out that the commentator's name is apparently Peter Drury, and he is known for this. But even though I've been watching soccer my whole life, I still felt like I had never really experienced commentary like this. And so as awesome as it was to see the actual highlights, for me the real highlight was listening to Peter Drury's commentary. And so like I said, this guy was dropping gems the entire video. But I remember at one point he said something and I audibly started laughing. I had a visceral reaction to what he had just said. And so immediately I went down into the comment section and I made this comment. Now again, that was just a genuine, innocuous comment that I made. Wasn't really expecting anything. I just made the comment and I left it. Same as I did with the girlfriend reviews comment. But then the next day, a similar thing happened. I had some notifications and so I went to check on them and I saw that this comment also had a couple hundred likes and a dozen or so responses. But again, I'm still telling myself to be careful. Don't let this external validation get to you. And I was really guarding against it. But then a week later, there's another soccer match. This time it's Liverpool versus Villarreal. And Peter Drury is back. And again, this man is just spitting poetry. But I remember watching this video, and again, I was just taken aback by his commentary. But I didn't really have any visceral reactions to any of the things that he was saying like I did in the last video. And so I didn't genuinely feel a need to express something here. Now, at the time, I didn't realize this. But in retrospect, I can now realize that after I watched that video, I started searching for something to say. Now again, like I said, I didn't realize this at the time, and I'd actually warped the motivation in my brain to still make it seem like I was doing something good. I'd convinced myself that no, I should find something to express, that I shouldn't be lurking anymore, that this is actually good for me, that I need to participate more. I've spent so long hiding and running away from every type of interaction that it would actually be beneficial for me to find something to say so that I can start learning how to interact again. And so this is what I was telling myself to convince myself that I wasn't actually doing this desperateness for any external validation. That no, this is actually me just learning how to express myself, and that it's actually good for me. But now as I look back, I realized that that was all just lip service. I was in that moment actually just chasing likes, looking for that external validation. And it's clear to see because the two posts are so similar. I was essentially trying to mimic the response and the engagement that I got from the first comment by basically just creating a carbon copy of it. I mean, I even added some extra emojis because I guess I thought that that would be more well received. And so ultimately, despite my awareness, I still succumbed to this need for external validation. I'd done all this mental gymnastics in my head to convince myself that I wasn't seeking it out, but in reality, I was. And honestly, being aware of how our brains work makes this so much worse, because I know most of the time we don't do bad things thinking to ourselves, I'm gonna do something bad now. Most of the time we do bad things with good intentions. I mean, Will Smith at the Oscars. I'm willing to bet money on the fact that he didn't walk up there thinking, I'm gonna do something really messed up right now. This is gonna be seen as bad, but I'm gonna do it anyway. No, like he said in his speech, he walked up there because he genuinely thought he was defending his wife. Now, does that excuse what he did? No, it was still bad. It was still the wrong thing to do. But that doesn't mean his intentions were impure. But basically, I'm just trying to say that even in this case, I had convinced myself that I was doing the right thing, remember? I was telling myself that no, I need to engage more. I need to learn how to articulate and express my thoughts more competently. And so yeah, I need to look for situations to express myself. And all of that is true and is good. But the reality is that that's not what was happening in that moment. In that moment, I was chasing likes. I was doing something that I had told myself time and time again not to do, but I convinced myself that it was right, and that's scary. But I mean, that's why I felt compelled to make this video. That's why I felt like I needed to tell on myself and expose my cringe-inducing behavior. Yeah, that secondhand embarrassment that you're experiencing right now doesn't come close to the firsthand embarrassment that is currently consuming me. I am literally regretting every single word that's coming out of my mouth right now. But ultimately, I'm hoping that this feeling will act as a deterrent or as a reminder so that the next time I start chasing likes, I'll remember this video. And to be honest, this realization hasn't stopped me from commenting and participating. I've actually been commenting more than ever in the past month. And to be honest, most of my comments get absolutely no traction. But it doesn't matter. The traction isn't the point. I've been commenting a lot more because I've genuinely felt the need to express a lot more. And I'm just hoping that the more that I comment and contribute and participate and engage, the better I'll get at competently articulating and expressing my point, which is coincidentally what I'm hoping will happen with these videos. Hopefully it'll follow a similar trajectory. The more videos I make about these genuine expressions, the more sufficiently I'll be able to convey my message. But the jury's still out on that one. Only time will tell if I'm actually improving or not. But on that note, I think I'm gonna end this one here. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. Yeah, this one was pretty embarrassing to make. I promise that most of my comments have a lot more substance than I felt that. Like I said, that just perfectly sums up how desperate I was for likes. But anyway, thank you again for indulging me. I hope this made sense. But with that said, I wish you all the very best going forward. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.